Back on track with another edition of 100% Canucks. John Shannon here, soon to be joined by Landon Ferraro and co-president of the Vancouver Canucks, Henrik Sedin. It has been an amazing few weeks for Canuck fans and for the organization when you think that Ryan Johnson finally gets the job that people assumed he was going to get at a certain point early in the search. And then the removal of Jim Rutherford, now an advisor. The removal of the coaching staff with Adam Foote gone. It's an interesting change in direction for this hockey club. And Daniel and Henrik Sedin and Ryan Johnson are at the helm. So we will discuss what has gone on in Vancouver, what to expect out of the Canucks and the new leadership team, how they resolve situations, and where to expect things to go, not only this summer, but in the years to come. John Shannon with Landon Ferraro and Henrik Sedin on this edition of 100% Canucks.
I won't keep you long. Darren Millard with a tip for everyone who loves great hockey podcasts like this one. John Shannon and I host the OG of 100% Hockey, coming your way multiple times a week. The guest list is the best you will find. Multiple shows a week ensures you won't miss out on any news, and we dig even deeper into the biggest stories around the NHL. Most of our guests are also friends, so I promise there'll be more conversation beyond the X's and the O's. John really does get bored with that after a while. So join us for 100% Hockey. The name says it all. Subscribe now while you enjoy thinking about it. And enjoy.
Welcome back to 100% Canucks. John Shannon, Landon Ferraro. Pleased to be joined by co-president Henrik Sedin. How's that sound?
Weird, but I'll take it for now.
So if I had told you, say, at the end of the regular season, you are going to be part of the new management structure of an NHL team, you would have told me what?
Not a chance, I would say. So no, it was. It happened quickly. That's for sure. So a lot of busy days here in the last couple of weeks, for sure.
Can you explain how you and Daniel had the conversations that we better get involved?
Well, we didn't really have any conversation until ownership came to us and told us about the plans and with Jim stepping down and where they saw this team going forward, and asked about our interest in helping them, and that's when we started talking, and it fairly quickly we came to an agreement that we wanted to jump on.
I've been in dressing rooms my whole life, and from the time I remember conversations to me being in those conversations, you're always sitting there and saying, if I was in charge, I'd do this or that, right? And you rejoin the organization a number of years ago. Like, how many times through that though it's popped into your head, if I was in charge, I'd do this or that? Like, is that something that pulled you in the end as well?
Well, let's first go back to when we were players. I think the first 5-6 years you're just trying to survive, and then you become more aware of the league and what goes into building a team and trades and all those things. So you start thinking about the big picture a little bit more. But then we were away from the game for 3 years, and we were fans watching from the sidelines. We got asked to join again, and we came back in and work in management. And we saw for a year and a half what went on up here on this floor and all the work that goes into building a team. So, but then when Patrick stepped in, we've always felt that we could help more with the players on the ice. So we told him that we wanted to take a step down and work with the players and mostly young guys. So. But of course, especially being me and Daniel, like we talk hockey on a daily basis. So you always discuss what we have done in this situation and all those things. So it might be more so because we're twins.
Are you going to be the only presidents that go on the ice still?
we have discussed it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're getting old. Danny just had a knee surgery, so we're falling apart.
But let's face it, though. You guys love this game. I mean, you can see it 100 different ways, how much you love the game of hockey, how much you love living in British Columbia. It'll be difficult to keep you off the ice.
Yeah, I think it will, and if the time is right, I don't mind stepping on the ice. I'm totally fine with that. So we'll see how things work out going forward, but I'm sure we'll have new guys in those roles as well. So
I couldn't imagine the jolt that gives, right? Like you're in the room and maybe you're going through a tough patch and you see the GM or especially if the president walks in, you're like, oh, this isn't good. Now you're on the ice.
Full gear, working power play.
Perfect. But something from the press conference that I'd love to talk about because, obviously culture and all of those things were a really big topic, but one part of it that you guys made a point of was the community side of it again. And, when you got drafted and Brian Burke brought you here and said, we're number one in community activity. And getting back to that, when you talk about culture, how much does, as much as, you're making people's day at the Children's Hospital or whatever you might be doing in the community, what does that do for building a team and a community within those walls?
Yeah, no, you're so right. We talked about being connected on the press conference, and that's a big part of it. You always talk about what it gives you when you go to those the hospital and Canuck place, but it also for me it was also team building. Like you busted together, you spend an afternoon together, and you see guys in a different environment, and that helps everyone to realize how different guys are as well in different circumstances. So it is important to be there, but it's also important for team building.
How would you describe the culture of this hockey club right now?
I think if we're fair, I think we saw down the stretch what a good environment can mean to a hockey team, and I think I always say like this market, you have knowledgeable fans. They can see if things are being done the right way and if things are right with the team. And I think they saw something going on with the team down the stretch, and because the fans were in the building, they were loud, they were cheering. I never seen an arena with a last place team where the wave goes around the building 7-8 times. In the third period, and that says a lot about what they saw in this team.
When the three of you sat down, Daniel and Ryan Johnson, and you're talking about just kind of more of a blanket, like what do we want this team to be? You talk about the culture and all of that, but on ice, like when this is, things have gone great, you're at your finish line. What does that team look like to you?
Well, I think it's easy to look back and you look at your own career and your good teams and what those had, and I think for me, every guy on the team needs to have a role, and that I know Ryan agrees as well. And you can't have passengers. You can't have 5-6 guys who does everything, and you need all guys to feel like they're part of the team, and that's the only way you can win. That's my opinion. So that means you got to fill out your roster with guys that can kill penalties and guys that can bring energy every night. But I think it's very important that you always go into a game knowing that you have a responsibility and you're going to do it to the best you can. You can't just I'll be a passenger tonight and we'll see what happens.
The fascination, this is one of those things, is that this is an important hockey market, not just in Canada, but in the whole National Hockey League. Co-presidents, that's something we haven't seen before. A rookie general manager in a tough spot. How do you see the three of you working together, and what does the organizational chart look like for you?
Well, I think you're going to see an aligned group from top to bottom. That's number one. There won't be any mixed messages. We're all following a plan that we want to, how we see things moving forward. We see things the same ways, which is a positive and a negative. But we want to bring in people that can challenge, where we can challenge each other. on how we view things. So I think that's number one. We all work towards the same goal, and there's no egos involved. That's for sure.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, if I'm playing the role of Ryan Johnson today, and I decide we got to trade Landon Ferraro. He's just a pain in the ass. We got to get rid of. We got to get rid of him.
It's a fair assessment.
Yeah, we got to get rid of him. If you and Daniel say, well, no, we really like Landon, how does this work? How does the practical side of a hockey operation system work that? To the fact that the three of you do agree that you have to get along.
Yeah, the way it should be, the way it should work, where he puts in the time and effort and the due diligence, and he does the work, and then he comes to us with his plan. And if he's done that and it follows the vision we have for our team moving forward, then there's no question we're gonna support everything he does. So that's the way every organization should work.
Landon, you're toast. So you're done.
Well, surprisingly, that's not the first GM or president to say that. I don't even think the president got involved with me. But, like when you take over the reins and you're looking at, possible changes, keeping people, all of these things. And when you're entering a rebuild, and you guys said it as well, like development is the biggest thing right now. How do you go about identifying the parts of the organization you need to strengthen without going overboard on everything?
Yeah, no, it's very easy to just hire 15 people to look good, but we want to do everything with a purpose. Want to be streamlined, and I think a good development group doesn't mean the more people the better. It's about having a plan. It's about discussions. What does each individual need, and then you set up a plan for that. And for us, that needs to be a 3 or 4 year plan with all the guys, where they're all going to have different routes to get here. Some guys might play right away. Some guys, it might take 2 years. For some guys, it takes 6-7 years, like a Linus Karlsson. I mean, he took him a lot of years to get there, and now he's finally shown that he's an NHLer. So they all have a different path, and we have to be very open-minded about to not rush them.
And on that topic, we all know where your career ended in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and everything went very well. But in the 2004 lockout, you go back and play at Modo. You'd played 4 years in Vancouver before that, topping out at 42 points. You play that year, you come back, and you pop to 75. Other than just getting another year older, I guess a couple things, what got you to that point that you could take that jump? And then how do you apply that in your role now, looking back at it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it took us a lot of years to get where we wanted to, and that's, I think, to go back. I think the Canucks had a plan for us. They knew where we were when they drafted us. They knew our physical limits and how long it was going to take us to get there. I think they also saw that we were ready to put the work in. But you can't go from zero to an NHL player in a year. It was going to take 2 or 3 or 4 years, and we knew we were going to be criticized during this, but they stuck with us, and we're forever grateful for that. But I think it is these days, guys that get drafted, they are way more prepared than we ever were. I mean, I played soccer until I was 17. I didn't spend a lot of summers in the gym before I got drafted. These days, kids they play hockey from when they're 7. So it is a different animal when you draft guys, because they're ready to step in right away. But you also have to know the person, get to know the player. Because some guys, they might need 3 or 4 years until they're ready, and we can't, as an organization or fans or media, jump all over them if they don't play right away.
I want to go back to when Landon asked the question about your development in the 4 or 5 years in the Modo time, and I think there's a lot of people that said, they've shown a great deal of patience, they being the Canucks, your organization, with Elias Pettersson. I'm sure you were as frustrated at times with Elias as we were. How do you deal with what we know this guy can deliver as one of the stars of the National Hockey League?
Yeah, no, I said it the other day as well. It's up to him now. I think we're all here and we've all been here to help him. But in the end, this is a professional sport, and you can't decide that someone's going to put the work on. He needs to decide himself, and that's up to him. There's going to be meetings, there's going to be discussions with people from the organization, and to talk to him. But he knows the standards are going to be set come September.
How much do you know about how much, because of your development time, particularly with the group in Abbotsford? How comfortable are you with some of your young guys and what they can contribute to the club?
Well, I think we've seen some of them up here already, showing what they can do. There's players coming up through the system that will help us. Again, we need to be patient and don't force them in too early. We've seen in the past with some of our guys where you slot them in the NHL too early, and then you have to reel them back in and maybe send them down to Abbotsford, and that's really tough to come back from. So the timing for everyone needs to be correct.
Like the topic was brought up and you guys answered it a little bit the other day, but I live in Vancouver and it pops up more and more as a nice big smile comes across your face. But, that the three of you and RJ, especially, of being too nice and being able to handle these roles, which like John's doing too, I kind of laugh at, right? Like I got to play a couple games against you. And if I am going to brag a little bit, I did get to give you a minus once, and that is something that I'll hold forever. But
I'm going to cut to the chase. Henrik, can you be a cold-hearted bastard?
I think RG answered really well at the press conference. And I think people that know us and have seen us in discussions know that we stand for something, and we're hard on things when we believe in them. We also know that we need to come in with open minds every day and learn from people around us. But if there's something we truly believe in, there's no holding back from us. And that's we've seen Ryan from up close in Abbotsford, where he sets the standard, and if people don't meet them, he is one of the toughest guys to deal with that in his way. So there's no hesitation there.
So I'm curious, just to go back to the process of when Francesco and Michael Doyle came to you and said, "Hey, listen, we'd like you to consider being part of it." Was Ryan an important asset, an important aspect of that as well when you consider your relationship with Ryan in Abbotsford?
No, we came into the last two interviews with like, again, an open mind. There was two really good candidates after talking to them. Evan brought his things that we really liked, and RJ, knowing him and what we wanted to do with this team going forward, we knew that he was gonna be hard on the environment, the standards. Holding everyone accountable, and that's where we felt we had the biggest need over the next little while.
So again, like you just start the job and you've got the draft really close coming up here. I mean, I guess in a sense it does help that a lot of the pieces are in place that have been working and are going to continue to. Does it change how you look at the draft from how you look at it a month ago when other people were making those decisions? Or,
Yeah, well, we sat in on the amateur scout meetings, so it's for us it was the second time we've been sitting in on them. We did it a couple of years back as well, and really impressed the discussions and the disagreements and the going back and forth and to coming to decisions. So we're fully confident that we're going to make the right decision, and we will get an unbelievable player at number 3. That's for sure.
What do you think your wish list is? Forget about just the draft, for this hockey club to progress every year over the next 3 or 4 years. Where does your wish list start?
Hall of Fame goalie, Hall of Fame center, Hall of Fame defenseman.
in one draft.
You got it narrowed down.
Yeah,
good.
no, it's tough to. I mean, wish list. We all know what it takes to win. What you have to win the Stanley Cup and or to be there as a contender. So, drafting is very important. That's going to give us some good pieces, but it's also developing them the right way afterwards. Doing the right things on a daily basis to if they start up here to teach them how to win. It's not easy. If you look back at teams that have been through this, it's a fine line between having fun, playing in the NHL, than to really, really understand what it means and what it takes to win. And that's I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for us going forward, because sometimes you get used to being in a losing environment.
Actually, going back to your own experiences as a first rounder, and coming in culturally to a different world too. How long did it take for you to understand that?
Oh, I would say 4 years.
Wow.
But again, like that's coming from us. We were on winning teams. Like we made the playoffs each year. But as a young guy, you try to survive. Like you do. Like you wanna make sure that you do your job and you stay in the league. And coaches are like, I don't think I looked at the big picture once over those first 4 years. Like we were just trying to survive and not getting sent down and all those things that young guys are going through. To a different extent. I mean, some guys they pretty much know they're going to play every game, and maybe looking back, we should have known that too, because we were high first rounders, and the organization picked us, and they were going to support us. But we never took anything for granted, and I think that's what made us the players that we became.
When you are going through a rebuild and there is more losing than winning, and trying to figure all this stuff out, how important is it for guys to get to go to the World Championships and get those reps of, like you put your country's crest on, everything amps up again? Like how big is it for the guys that have got to go this year?
I think it's big. I think it's very important to play in through May. That's number one, to have the season going on and play important games at that time. I don't think it matters. I mean, always for sure they wanted to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but to be over there, you play against top players, some European teams, as you know, Landon. Like they're not bad. Like they're good and they can skate, and it's a different ring. So to be part of that and playing like in a quarterfinal or a semifinal for your country, that's going to be huge for them.
A friend of mine took over a hockey club last year and described his first 3 months as drinking through a fire hose. What has it been like for you guys since you took over this hockey club?
Yeah, it's been a little bit up and down. Some days have been a little bit calmer, but there's a lot of work for sure. But it is fun to do it with people that you enjoy working with. So we're having a smile on our face coming to work every day, and that's our plan, to keep that going.
How long are the days?
They start early and they end fairly late. And I also noticed that the workday doesn't end when you leave the office.
No, that's for sure.
Well, when you're looking at this season now, and I mean, you need to hire a coach and fill out the whole coaching staff and all of that. When you're looking at training camp, like what is that message, other than, of course, you come in and you work, but what is that message of what you expect?
Well, everything we talked about during the press conference, number one. Number two is I feel like everyone needs to come in with a clean slate. I don't think we care if you're 29 or if you're 19. Like we need everyone to show up and to be better than they were last year, and that's I know Ryan. I know that's going to be his message, and if you're not, there's going to be some discussions what we do going forward. But he's going to let everyone know what he expects from everyone, and that's going to be, they need to be better than they were last year.
Actually, to Landon's point about having to hire a coach. How difficult was it to decide that Adam and his staff couldn't work?
Yeah, no, very difficult. Like looking at last year, that's it's a tough year to evaluate. But I think Ryan and us, we felt that with this fresh start, we needed like a new voice. We needed new people in there just to make it as a clean slate for everyone. So it was hard because we all appreciate them as coaches and as people. So it's not easy.
Is it a slam dunk that Manny's the guy?
No, it's not. I think there's Ryan is working every day here to get to talk to different people. I think he's. I mean, he knows Manny from before, so that's a discussion that is had. So we'll see what happens here.
So much like trying to figure out the whole situation with all of you, just actually really taking your time. I know like there's been discussions in the past year of, you know, some quicker decisions and trying to just get to the next part as quick as you can. And, you know, I mean, the press conference had a different feel to it than it has in a lot of years here, but like how important it was when we talk about community and all of that, like how important is it to reestablish the connection with the media and everyone else that's involved around the rink as well?
Well, I think it's I don't want to talk about the past, but I know from being a player, we've always thought that you have to treat media with respect. You have to talk to them. You have to give them what they want because they are a big part of why you're being paid what you get paid. So, and it's a chance for you as a player to send a message to the markets. I mean, you can shy away and don't talk to them, but if you talk to them, you're honest and you speak out what you feel, really feel. That sends a message, and it allows you to say what's on your mind instead of having media try to frame what they think you're talking about. So that is something we took pride in and something we'll discuss going forward. But it's going to be a change for sure. The
foundation that the previous group gave you, Patrick and Jimmy gave you, when you think about the assets that came in the Hughes trade, some of the young draft picks like Velander. There are some positives of this hockey club, aren't there?
No, exactly. And that's what I talked about before, where you saw this young group coming together at the end of the season. And our scouts has done a great job in the last couple of years to find players. And you look down in Abbotsford where Ty Mueller, 4th rounder, played games. Kirill Kudrantsev, 7th rounder, played games last year. So we've found some good players deep down in the draft, and that's promising for us.
You know, when you talking or working with these young players that are, you know, either just drafted or, you know, they're starting to get games, you know, I had a line said to me once of, you know, you have to be patient, but you can't accept it, right? Of like, you want to get to the next level, you want power play time, whatever it is. Like, how does that look to you? How do you deal with that with a young guy of like, yeah, you need to be patient, but I want your fight to be there still?
Yeah, we like for us, the biggest thing was the belief. We wanted every guy we worked with to believe that they were the next Canuck player for our organization. If you can get young players today to feel that they are seen and they're believed in, I think that goes a long way. And it so that's going to help them for sure. When then there's going to be situations where they have a chance to really grab that spot and to show the organization what they can, and there's going to be certain moments, as you know, Landon, like you might only get a few of them if you're not like a first rounder. So that was our biggest thing, to work with these guys and to grab that chance when they got it, because it's for some players, one game could be the Stanley Cup final for them. That's their chance to make a statement and to show that they belong. So there's patience, but there's also, you have a few chances to really make it for some guys, and that's something we had to work with them a lot on.
I'm just curious, what do you suspect the summer looks like for you now? I mean, usually it's a a little more relaxing. This one looks like it's a little more intense.
Yeah, no, for sure, and we expect that as well. I think it really helps us that there is two of us up here. That's we can spread out, we can do a lot of things separately, and so that's going to help us manage all the work that we have to do.
Curious, do you guys ever disagree on things?
All the time. No, all the time. I promise you. I think the guys that play with us, they've seen us on the bench when we really disagree, and that's not a good sight.
I imagine that gets quieter than louder, though. No, like I feel like it's like everyone could just feel the tension at that point.
Yeah, it gets loud, and then it gets a little bit more quiet, and then we leave the rink and we are not happy with each other. But then usually we call each other on the way home or something just to finalize the disagreement. Who was right and who was wrong?
Actually, I can just imagine being a teammate, and if I'm Canadian, so I don't speak Swedish, so the argument would probably assume I would be in Swedish, correct?
Yeah, if it's between me and him, for sure. If there's other players involved, it will be English, yes.
You're smart enough to understand the difference in guys that do understand Swedish and don't. I think that's fantastic.
Exactly. Sometimes we didn't want our teammates to understand what we're talking about because it could be something that was only between me and Danny, so that's when we kept it in Swedish.
It'd be difficult on this club. You got a lot of Swedes on this club if you have a disagreement.
Yeah, I know that is tough, so that's for sure.
When I was in Germany, I had our captain was saying or talking in German, and I finally, because there's only a couple of us in there, I'm like, hey, can you switch to English? Like, no, we're talking about you. Give me another minute. Oh, it was awesome. Just the smile he gave. I'm like, okay, yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Henrik, it's been a treat. Appreciate your transparency, and I think that there's a ton of Canuck fans out there that are thrilled to. I know you've been with the organization for a couple of years again, but I think there's a ton of Canuck fans thrilled to see you back in a high-profile position, both you and Daniel, as this team tries to get back on track and become a championship franchise again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's Henrik Sedin. Landon and I'll be back after this.
All right, listen up. Today I want to talk about giving 110%. Giving 100% means giving everything you got. Giving 110% means giving 10% more than is humanly possible. If we're going to win as a team, we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. If only 50% of you guys give 110% and 50% of you guys give 100%, I guarantee you 100%, we'd only win 50% of our games. Suppose 75% of the 110% gave only 50%. And 50% of the 100% gave 25%. And 75% of the 110% were not feeling 100%. Then we'd be in a heap of trouble. That's why we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. Okay. Let's go out and play some hockey.
Landon, I truly meant what I told Henrik was I think that there are a ton of hockey fans in British Columbia, Canuck fans, that are just relieved and thrilled to have Daniel and Henrik back in an important position with this organization.
Oh, you can feel it all around Vancouver, and like the amount of texts that I got from friends and stuff in the city, and like what you said, like people in Trail where I'm originally from, like people are really excited. And as soon as that press conference started the other day and they started speaking, like you could feel the difference really right away. It feels like for the first time there actually has been like a page turned. And I think a big part of that isn't getting talked about a ton, but before they started speaking, when Aquilini was talking, to me, the fact that he said the word rebuild out loud and it was coming from his mouth, like I think that really helped set up the Sedins and Johnson talking and that leaf being turned and moving forward. Like there's a lot of excitement in the city of some hope moving forward.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate though, but I mean, Jimmy Rutherford never shied away from saying rebuild. Jimmy, the moment they traded Quinn Hughes, they knew that they had to make a massive change.
Yep. But at the same time, when you look at it, Jim is tied to the past still, even though it's only been a few years and there was a really good playoff run in that. Like there's a lot of people that just aren't happy with the decisions that were made and feel like some things were rushed into, or however you want to look at it. But at the end of the day, he says it when the new person comes in and you can see almost the freshness on them with how the word comes out and the excitement that's behind it, because they don't have years of baggage tied to them already.
I am curious that if Daniel and Henrik get into an argument in front of Ryan Johnson, if they break into Swedish, though.
Yeah, I think he just turns around and walks out, and he'll get filled in later at that point. He's like, "All right, guys."
Yeah, it's a different organizational chart. But as I've said to friends who outside of Vancouver who said, that's a weird thing. I've said, the Sedins have defied logic and defied the norm their whole playing career and their whole career, and how they interact, not only with each other, but with teammates and with the city that they've obviously adopted and loved because they lived there. They are, they are unicorns. There's no question. And you have to understand and appreciate that. And if they can be direct in their assessment of their talent and be direct and as I said to Henrik, I mean, can you be a cold-hearted bastard? Because you need to be one if you're going to have, a president's job or a manager's job in this league. And that's a big part of this.
And you're totally right. The way I see it, and I think the part where I have zero reservations if they're going to be able to or not is, I live in Vancouver. I trained here in the summers, doing all my skating. As guys would start coming back into town, they'd start coming into skates. And, so I'm on the ice with Henrik and Daniel and a bunch of the Canucks as they're coming back. The difference between the day the day before the Sedins get back into town and the ice time to the next day when they're there, it's not like guys were messing around and not trying or anything like that, but there was a quick change. And not like, oh my God, they're coming, like we better be perfect. It's just there's a different level of expectation when they were on the ice. There wasn't messing around as much between drills and shooting. Like, no, get to the next thing because we got work to do. To me, it's the tone that they set that there is no room for mess ups in a sense. Like things will happen, but the way that they handle it, things start to take care of themselves. And that's the culture that they're talking about. Like they had formed it there. Just their presence being back in the building, everyone gets back to being ready to go.
Were you surprised that when Ryan took over and Daniel and Henrik were there that guys like Todd Harvey got a vote of confidence?
I don't find it hard to believe. Like I do think that there was just parts that got moved. What's the right way to say it? Things got shuffled around and the plan, like they got stuck between like 3 different plans. And I don't think it enabled people to do the job to the best of their ability. I don't think that reflects on them. I think it reflects on trying to be a playoff team, keeping Quinn Hughes, but really like you don't have the guts of it. There's other problems going on that you're trying to throw Band-Aids on. So to me, just like when he's talking with Pettersson, in a sense, like it's a clean slate. they trust it. Ryan Johnson has worked a ton with Todd Harvey and with scouting staffs, talking about the players he has in Abbotsford, all of this. So there is a comfortability there that he knows he can do the job, or he feels that he can do the job. So there's no need to make a decision just to try and make other people happy if they believe he can do it.
His answer about Elias Pettersson, they're making no bones. They're putting the pressure back on the player, aren't they?
Yeah, and they should. What more?
That didn't necessarily happen.
What? Sorry,
I don't think that necessarily happened the last year.
No, not at all. But and it definitely didn't happen. But at this point, what more can you do to try and make him comfortable? I said this the other day, and I truly do think it. At this point, he's got to understand that he's not the most important player on the team anymore. They need him to be good, and they need him to start producing. But the most important people are the young draft picks that are now playing and the guys that are going to be coming in. They don't have time to sit around and babysit a guy that's been in the league for a number of years and has been told you need to come into camp prepared. That is the absolute baseline to ask someone. So to me at this point, it's on you. You got to figure this out. No one can make you put the work in, right? That's how minor hockey has gone so crazy, is a bunch of parents that think if they put the work in, that their kid's going to be Sidney Crosby. If the kid doesn't have the passion and a natural skill set, it doesn't matter what you do. That's not going to turn out.
Would it surprise you if Pettersson starts the season in Vancouver?
I wouldn't say I'd be surprised, but if I had to put a mark on it, I would definitely lean with I expect him not to be here by that time. And I've said it on here before, and I believe you agreed with it. At this point, for both sides, it just needs to move.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I understand that. And then now it will be fascinating to see what type of coach they do hire here.
Yeah.
Whether, I still think it's going to be Manny Malhotra, but
yeah, I'm right with you.
I said it on one of the local shows in Vancouver this week. I said hiring Manny at this point is comparable, in my mind, to what Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes did with Marty St. Louis in Montreal 4 to 5 years ago, and so that he can grow with his team.
Yeah,
I think there's some logic to that.
The only thing that throws a hiccup into that is Caleb. And I know that Ryan said the other day that that's not something that they're necessarily concerned about, but that doesn't answer from Manny's side. Does he want to do that? I know if I was playing and my dad jumped into it, that wouldn't be a situation I'd be super, super excited about, right? So there is a part there that they do have to look at and talk about, because it is an option. And when you're choosing between, if it was at that point, if you're choosing between a player and a coach, you're probably taking the young player.
Yeah. The fact that Caleb Malhotra now is a discussion to be in the third spot is truly amazing.
Yeah.
When you consider that he's, I think there are probably more defensemen that are going to be higher and more attractive than he is. Mm-hmm. But this is what happens. Brantford hasn't played a game for how long?
Yeah.
and his draft stock continues to grow, which is fascinating.
You do the right stuff at the right time, good things can happen.
I know, but there was a point where you thought, Caleb's 5 or 6 in the draft. He's not 3. Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, there's lots of discussion that he's higher than 5 or 6. So it will be fascinating to see, and we'll have to figure out. I think there's wishful thinking that people are now talking about that. McKenna or Stenmark will end up becoming Vancouver Canucks. When you think that San Jose,
and that's the tricky part.
San Jose is probably looking to shore up their blue line, as opposed to having another young forward, because God knows you only need 14 of them. And San Jose seems to have about 14
down there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
You could almost see it in Mike Greer's face when it was like disbelief, but you could almost see him instantly like, now what? Like, I got to figure this out. It's a good problem, though.
Yeah, it is. Mike could go to smile school a little more. He really could. He could have. So
he's serious though, and it's hard to judge him on that. He's got a pretty good team building down there.
Serious and doesn't do many interviews anymore, which is fascinating to hear. So anyway, thanks for this, Landon.
Yep, thank you.
We'll talk to you next week, and thank you for listening or watching this edition of 100% Canucks.